Well, unfortunately, lost again in embarrassing fashion on prime time. Of course, it had to be on prime time. The whole world was watching it. Maybe the whole world. I don't know. I stopped watching it. Can't even remember when it was. But once again, welcome back to the Purple Rain podcast, guys. TCU podcast. Keep it going every single week. I'm Michael Terrazzi, joined by me as always, Adriana Arojo. Adriana, what a Saturday night it was. Now, you don't have to, give spoilers or anything, but did you watch the whole game?
I did not, honestly. I was extremely disappointed.
Yes, we share that same disappointment. The TCU Horned Frogs lost. I wish I couldn't say the score, but that is my job as, the host of the show. So the co-host of the show, 17-63 was the final score. I don't even know where to start with this game. I was hyped coming into it. I wanted to see how we would respond going up against a very physical defense. We already knew it was a physical defense already, but where do Adrian? I'm struggling where to start with this. Let's start with the offense, okay? Start with the offense. They came out, they had a good drive, but the offensive line could not protect Chandler Morris. Chandler Morris was getting hounded. The receivers were getting physical. The corners were getting physical with our receivers. The blitz packages were coming. The stunts were coming along the defensive line. The offense just got manhandled. And trust me, manhandled is going to go on both sides of the ball. It is going to go offense and defense. So let's just stay focused on the offense because I will have a lot to say about this defense. But, Adriana, I'm going to let you start off with the offense.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know at the beginning of the game, there are a few missed catches that definitely could have changed the momentum of the game. And they weren't necessarily bad throws by Chandler Morris either. I think definitely catchable balls, just we missed them and definitely could have, like I said, changed the momentum of the game, but we missed those. And from there, we just could never get any offensive momentum whatsoever. And it just snowballed. We had Quentin Johnson missed a catch there. I think definitely could have been pass interference, but whatever. And then right after, missed pass on 3rd and 5. And we never established a run game either, so that didn't help. We were still without Zach Evans. And to be fair, like when halftime hit, I think for OSU's defense, they had not given up a touchdown in 10 straight quarters. So that's counting all of the West Virginia game, all of the Kansas game, 2 quarters of the TCU game. And then to make it even worse, we also didn't score a touchdown in the 3rd quarter. So make it 11 quarters in a row. So we're going up against a really good Oklahoma State defense, but we just could not get any offensive production whatsoever. We only got a field goal in the 1st quarter, and then we got 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Not even sure if they count, but whatever. Just really frustrating overall because we really couldn't get anything going. And like I said, lack of establishing a run game and then receivers not catching balls that really they should have caught. And I think 2 questionable play calling also. I think occasionally just knowing personnel, I guess, if that makes sense, is really important. And I think that was also another big thing for me at times.
I think you put it just right. Oh, Jesus. You put it perfectly right. The offense was stagnant. The play calling was a little off. I could almost tell that Chandler was dealing with an injury, which was reported going into the game. I mean, it is crazy, dude. Look at these injuries. We have no quarterbacks, no scholarship quarterbacks. Michael Downing is gone. We have a freaking almost a punter. I mean, Adriana, you're probably gonna have to play quarterback this Saturday. I don't even know. I might have to play linebacker. Let's have football tryouts. How about that? Let's have a TCU camp, fans only. If you have the best times at 40s, cone drills, everything, you get a scholarship spot. You get a scholarship. Oprah, everything. You get a scholarship. You get a scholarship. Everything's going to go crazy on this Saturday. So getting to the defense, which is, it hurts my heart because I love defense. Pathetic. Now, I am going to hold back some of that because these are college students. These are amateur athletes. They're still 19, 20 years old. Not going to go too much into them, but what the hell? What was that? The offensive line of Oklahoma State absolutely bullied this defensive line. They moved them. They pancaked them. I think I counted like maybe 11 in the first quarter, and after that I stopped because I didn't want to count anymore. The linebackers were all over the place. Very disappointed what we've seen from D Winters so far. In that game specifically, I mean, missed angles, missed timing jumps, everything just looks lost on the defense. And maybe it was a hangover from the huge win that was over number 12 Baylor, who did end up beating Oklahoma, and Lincoln Riley wanted to have a bitch fit about it because he lost the game and he knew that the college football playoff is gone. Sorry. By the way, that was just a beautiful thing to watch. I mean, getting away from TCU right now, Dave Aranda earned my respect, man. Kicking that field goal earned my respect for Baylor. I no longer hate Baylor anymore. Dave Aranda, that was the biggest FU I have ever seen from the respectable coach that Dave Aranda is. It was all-time drama. It was all-time petty. I loved every single part of it. 1 second left, you've already lost the game, and you're throwing a temper tantrum because some 18-year-olds want to rush the field. I don't understand that. Adriana, did you see that in real time? Did you get to witness that, or did you have to catch up on it? What was your reaction to that?
Yeah, I didn't get to see it in real time. I forgot where I was heading to. I didn't get to see it in real time. Watched it back. I will say I actually disagree with you. So Lincoln Riley, definitely agree as far as the overreaction about the rushing the field. It's like, dude, like not that big of a deal. The field goal, I will say, is a little much. I think this is also probably coming from my personal just beef with Baylor. That's long. Okay. So I think that's probably overshadowing everything. But I think there also is a general, just a general unspoken thing that most coaches follow. And one of those is like, you just don't really do that. But yeah, like I said, you just don't do that. So I think in this case, I'll disagree with you on this one for sure. But yeah, Lincoln Riley, chill out a little too. So I think both sides definitely played a part in this for sure.
Now, guys, trust me.
Good game overall.
I don't mean to get away from TCU, but Ariana did just say she disagrees, and rightfully so. There is a sportsman respect aspect to that on the professional side of things. But for you to do that on their home field, hold up the what is it? The rushing of the field. In my opinion, I loved it. I'm all for pettiness between rivals. I am all for the pettiness. Hell, when I was long ago in high school, freaking show out, taunt, do all that stuff, talk your mess, and go about the day. But at the end of the day, it's all respect. There's always going to be respect between Lincoln Riley and Dave Aranda. Absolutely. I'm just saying, I loved that pettiness. I absolutely loved it. But getting back to TCU, man, the mood just ain't changed. Getting back to TCU, The secondary is really what's confusing me here. Going into the preseason, all the preseason voting, all the awards and all that stuff, there was a big hype around Travius Hodges-Tomlinson. Now, the biggest thing of why I don't like PFF, they do a lot of their grading on what could have been, what was turnover worthy. What the hell is turnover worthy? Was it a turnover or was it not? Did he intercept the ball or did he not? I don't do the what could have plays. That's not going to get you to the NFL. That's not going to be a long-term career in the NFL. So he was graded as one of the highest, if not the highest corner. Him and Noah Daniels were looked at as one of the better tandems in college football. Noah Daniels has struggled with getting on the field, injuries. Travius, I feel like it was just obvious Saturday night. They were picking on him play after play after play after play. And I think it came to a reality of where the struggles are. In man-to-man, when I look at him and I look at his future in the NFL, I don't see it at corner, honestly. I see it as either a safety or a nickel corner. Going on the outside, I don't think the speed is there to be in the NFL. I don't think the physicality is there. But attention to detail, knowing what's going on is there. So I have to give him that credit. But losing these matchups over and over, especially how he did against Oklahoma State, was bad. TJ Carter, who is the backup, is playing as a backup. Bud Clark, obviously out for the season, is struggling once again. Bad angles, not knowing what's going on against the opposing offense. It's all over the place. And honestly, I don't know if this is just me, but I am kind of ready to see this season end, have these players take a break from football. It was a disappointing, emotional season. Take a break from it. The seniors, the juniors, make your decision on if you want to go to the NFL, make those financial decisions. Get with your sports office, see what the grades are looking like, what scouts are saying. But I really want to see this team recoup, get rejuvenated, work on what they need to work on. But they do have to play Kansas this week. And it's a beautiful thing. Playing Kansas this weekend. Now, that is my segue from what the embarrassment was Saturday night. Gary Patterson will come back and he will lead the seniors off. I think this is the most respectful way that you could show Gary Patterson respect. He recruited these players. He coached these players. And you're going to send them off as seniors. I still remember when Noah Daniels committed to TCU. It was either TCU or Oklahoma. I can't remember what website it was, but he did release a video on a website showing his commitment. I immediately DM'd him, man, congratulations. Happy to have you. Of course, I'm a nobody, so he just liked it, hearted, kept it pushing. That broke my heart, obviously, as a 16, 17-year-old? I have no idea. But seeing him going out as a senior is definitely going to feel good. Very curious to see what his NFL career could potentially look like. Amari DiMercato, he's been through it. Last 3 years, been a depth piece at running back, getting some quality minutes now. Adriana, and this was just news, I think, that broke today, that he's going to be sending these seniors off, him and Miss P, his wife, Kelsey. So what is your reaction to this legendary coach coming back and sending his players off?
Yeah, it definitely seems very fitting and just the right way to do it, right thing for sure. I'm very excited. I know my family's coming to the game, so I'm pretty excited just to be there and be in that atmosphere and have him in the stadium and on the field one more time. So I'm excited. And I think too, another cool thing is, like I said, I've gone to so many games with my family, with him on the field. And so for them to also like be there for that last game and to see him send them off and kind of get that closing and ending that really he deserves and should have been guaranteed to begin with. is going to be really exciting. And I wished it wasn't. So Thanksgiving break obviously is coming up. So I know a lot of students are heading home today or tomorrow. So a lot of people won't be at the game, at least for the TCU student wise. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully turnout's pretty big for him. I think that'll be really cool. But I'm excited for sure to see him come and send them off. That's going to be something special for sure.
So we already got confirmation the Arojo family is coming to town. So big props. Make sure you get your pictures in, autographs. You don't have to tell the people what section you'll be in. We don't want paparazzi major, taking pictures or anything. So we'll keep that behind the scenes. So it's going to be a bittersweet moment, man. Unfortunately, I won't make a game this year, but I'm definitely going to be watching. It is almost going to be emotional. It probably will, but hey, this is what these players deserve. It's what Coach P deserves. He's still been actively involved with the Fort Worth community, with construction, charities, all that good stuff. Man, excited to see Miss P back in the building as well. I know she's been itching. She's been in contact with some of these players' parents, always giving kind words, everything. She's always looked at as the good cop in the football offices all the time when they're in trouble with Coach P and they go to her, hey, protect us a little bit. So that's always a good thing to hear about. But getting into something a little bit away from TCU, but still college football, okay? The college football playoff. We know as TCU fans, the committee is stupid. They're not smart. They're not educated. And before I get into that, Adriana, you got to answer for this, okay? As bad as it was to see TCU get dismantled, a buddy of mine, a good friend of mine, did travel down to Austin. And Adriana, I do got to ask you, how did it feel dropping that game to Kansas?
Yeah, it felt amazing, obviously. No, yeah, it felt pretty bad. To be completely honest, 100% transparent, I kind of felt it coming just because for a few reasons. One, the Bo Davis video. I don't know if you saw that, but there was a video of one of the Texas coaches, Bo Davis, like cussing out a lot of the UT players on the bus. And he's like, and a lot of the players on the bus were laughing. And he's like, it's not funny. Like, we got to get it together, et cetera, et cetera. So that video was leaked on Twitter. Some people were like, oh, like he shouldn't be cussing at them like this, blah, blah, blah. And then a lot of other people were like, he's right. They are with the new NIL rules. Some of them are getting paid at this point. Like, the game is different, etc. So just a lot of things going on with that. And then, of course, one of the, I think, UT assistants coaches, I believe, his girlfriend's monkey or something bit a child during like Halloween, I believe. And so that was also surrounding the team. So I just think so much drama and rumors and all these things have been surrounding the team that it's just been a lot for them to deal with. And I think that's just been a huge distraction, and their mindset has not been right. This is the first time they've had 5 losses in a row in 50 plus years. And I mean, 4 losses as far as that goes back to 2011, I think, which is the year after Colt McCoy left. It goes back to like Mac Brown. So honestly, I wasn't too surprised, which I hate to say, but I think just so much drama surrounding the team. And I could just tell the mindset around the team just didn't seem right. But I mean, Sark's in a building year, and yeah, it's an easy cop out, but it's true. It's not his guys. So hopefully going forward, he can get it together. But hey, good luck in the SEC, right? Like that's gonna be a whole nother ball game. That's gonna be difficult to build that team in the SEC. But like I said, it felt really bad, but I definitely was kind of expecting it, unfortunately.
So while you were speaking, I went and searched for the video. Wow.
Yep.
I'm not. I have a smile on my face, honestly. When Texas is in disarray, I love it. But wow, I've
UT
been.
often lives in TCU fans' minds rent free. I've noticed that.
You have noticed it because they have to pay rent to be in TCU State. So, well, this isn't going to be Adriana and I getting into an argument. Trust me about that, guys. Oh my gosh, the complete disrespect. Wow. Both ways, honestly. I mean, it's one thing to get into a player's head, but to go at them like that's crazy. From everything that I haven't been studying or close to the Texas program like you have been. So you're much more educated on them than I am, but it's like they feel entitled when they put that jersey on, because as much as I hate them, that is a very legendary jersey. That is a legendary stadium, a legendary logo to have on your uniform. It's like everyone's entitled to everything. So when you lose to Kansas, it's beautiful. Steve Sarkisian doesn't really surprise me failing. So honestly, I mean, for the kids' sake, for their future NFL career-wise success, I hope for the best for them. But man, I think Kansas just gave them the stamp as the new Kansas of the SEC. Honestly, I think they're about to be the punching bag. There's no way that's good. But that's what I have to say about that. I just wanted to bring that up because I just wanted to see your face, Adriana, see how it was talking about that. It was fun as TCU fans, as we love to see that. Speaking of the post-Colt McCoy era, man, what could have been with David Ash? Graduated as a Belton Tiger, went to my high school. What could have been, man? What could have been? So anyway, what's up?
Kansas. Oh no, just the whole, just Texas team, yeah, entitlement mindset, all of that right now is a mess. I think just the whole last thing, final word, team culture, chemistry, like I said, that's a huge thing for me, and it's not going well at Texas, and it hasn't been for a long time. And hearing the things that they've said, like some of the players have said, it's like that's not the way that it should be going, and it's just really disappointing because you never want to hear I don't know, just some of the things they said, like, oh, I've never had a coach in the last 4 years say that they care about my future as a player past college. And it's like, that's terrible, but okay. And you've had 3 different coaches since you've been there. But anyway, besides the point, but just, yeah, culture, mindset, entitlement, all of the things have not been going well there, and it shows.
Well, actually, I do want to stay on this topic a little bit, guys, because speaking about this actually kind of gives me a little bit of an afterthought here, because this generation growing up, and of course, I'm in that generation. I'm only 23 years old. I'm not talking like I'm part of some older generation, but it is different. The mindset is a little bit different. Like I said earlier, when you put on a legendary uniform that is a Texas Longhorn uniform, you have to go out there and feel like you have to earn the right to wear that. I mean, regardless of how much we want to diss on Texas, they are still a brand because players before have made it that brand. Mac Brown has made it that brand. Regardless of how unsuccessful the coaches have been after him, it is still that brand because of these past legendary players. So to act like you're entitled to an NIL deal, to act like you're entitled to a spotlight at Texas is crazy. It almost, I'm not going to blame it on the kids too much, because when these coaches go out and scout these players, what are you telling them? What are you guaranteeing them? What, like, I don't mean to bring this up, but like with Dylan Jordan, when the whole thing happened with him last year, released that statement, and the first thing that he mentioned, I was promised playing time. That's false. I have had people inside the program tell me that that is completely false. When they recruited him, he was lying and tried to make bad on Gary Patterson's image. He was never guaranteed anything. When you act like you're guaranteed something, you feel like you don't have to work for it. You feel like you don't have to earn the right to do that. You just walk in and just put that on and just take it for granted. So many other people want to be in your shoes. Some people, there are many college students out there that wish they would have gone to Texas rather than this other university they're currently playing at. And that's just facts. That happens. So whether if you're at TCU, Texas Southern, Blinn College, whatever the case may be, you have that mindset that a coach puts in your head. And this is one thing that I've always loved about Gary Patterson. As little old TCU as it is, it was Texas to Gary Patterson. That was his bread and butter. That was his love. That was his passion. So if you put this uniform on that I've busted my ass for 20 years to build up, you are going to go out there and earn it. You're going to act like a man. You're going to earn it when you walk in the classroom, earn it when you go in the film, weight room, on the field, when you go back home, how you treat other people, you're going to earn it that way. So I think we need a lot more coaches like Gary Patterson. And I understand when people want to say our next coach, we want to be like that. And sometimes that's not always going to be the case. Unfortunately, I hope for the same thing too, but don't get me wrong. Other coaches in college football aren't like that. I do want to put that out there because I do know a couple people. I think two of them know who I'm talking to because I've had this conversation with you boys. Work for it. Work for it. Yes, Brian, I'm talking to you. Work for it. Okay. Work for it. That's all I got to say. Getting into college football playoff, Adriana, it's crazy. It's crazy right now. Cincinnati's not getting any love. I am all for Cincinnati. I'm all for Cincinnati getting into this thing because Desmond Ridder, Ahmad Gardner, who is my favorite corner in this upcoming draft. I can't wait till we get to draft season. I want them to get in so badly. But the current top four, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, selling tickets, glamour, uniform, everything, blue blood. In your mind, how is it all going to shape out? The Final Four after championship weekend, who is your Final Four that you are giving to go to the playoff?
Ooh, Final Four, that's hard. I would say 1 and 2, unfortunately. I know this is probably an answer no one wants to hear, but oh well. Alabama and Georgia, 1 and 2, I would say. And then 3 and 4 is where I really struggle because I'm not quite sure how it's going to pan out. I know right now they have Oregon at 3 and Ohio State at 4. Personally, at this point in the season, I would switch that just because Ohio State's only loss is to Oregon, and that was September 11th. So that was a more quality win a lot earlier in the season. And then Oregon's only loss is to Stanford October 2nd. So I think that, like I said, Ohio State has a more quality loss than Oregon does. So I would switch them at this current point and then leave 5, 6, and 7. And then one person that I think is kind of getting left, not necessarily left out of the conversation, but will be interesting to follow, especially after championship week, is Oklahoma State. Because right now they're sitting at 9. And I think that if they do end up winning the Big 12 championship, that they could definitely jump into one of those top 4 spots. And like I said, I'm not quite sure how it pans out. And I think if Georgia and Alabama end up as 1 and 2, that's contingent on if it's a competitive game, obviously. But this is difficult because I've seen Cincinnati play several times, and I think that they have a good team. But do I think that they would be able to compete at a high level with the other teams? I'm not quite sure. One team that I would rule out, which maybe this isn't fair, but is Notre Dame, just because their track record in playoffs, in bowl games. Yep. This happens every year. They get in there because of ratings and because they're Notre Dame, and it never pans out. They always get blown out, and it's just very frustrating. So I think Notre Dame just completely rule out. But I think Oklahoma State, honestly, has a good chance of jumping up there if they win the Big 12 championship. And like I said, Alabama, Georgia, this is difficult because Cincinnati's also in that difficult place where it's not necessarily their fault who they play. And TCU's been in that spot and they've been left out before. We know how that feels.
Yeah.
So I think part of me wants so badly to be like, no, Cincinnati should be in the 4, but I don't know if that's the right thing. And I think part of that's just me being like, oh, I've been there before, like they should be in. And I think I'm just being super biased. But trying to be objective about it, I just don't know that Cincinnati's a solid enough team to compete with the other teams that are in the conversation at this point. But honestly, I don't have a solid answer of top 4 right now, just because the games remaining. So Michigan State still needs to play Ohio State and Penn State. And then Michigan needs to play Maryland and Ohio State. So those 3, it's like they're all in the top 7. So that can change a lot, obviously. I mean, I don't know. Those are all game changers to me. And I think Ohio State right now, the only reason that they're 4 is because they still do have 2 big games left to play, which are Michigan and Michigan State. And if they had already played those games, then they would be ranked higher if they'd already won those, but they haven't. So that's the reason that they're 4. But I think just too much football's left to play. And I know that's why they do the weekly rankings, but I just cannot confidently pick 4 right now.
This is why I kind of added this into the show, because this is, like you said, it's early to even decide this. 3 weeks out from the actual final rankings, there's so much left to be played. I mean, honestly, me personally, I don't see the hype around Michigan. I really, really don't. Aiden Hutchinson being highly rated as a pass rusher, I do not see it. For the life of me, I can't see it. But sitting here looking at these rankings, it's interesting that you said Oklahoma State, because they got pushed up to 9, beating a TCU team, going to number 9. Now you get to play Oklahoma and might play them again in the Big 12 championship. Now you have a conference championship, something that Notre Dame doesn't have. Looking at this thing right here, still have 1 loss. You got to imagine Michigan State, Ohio State, 1 or 2 of those teams are going to have 2 losses in no conference championship. Cincinnati has looked sluggish, but if you're talking about who is most deserving, I want to see Cincinnati in there. Like, let the little kid in the game, please. Even though they might get walloped by Georgia, let them in. Alabama, does a 2-loss Alabama get into the playoff? I think I think they do because the committee wants to give them the benefit of the doubt. They've dominated. It's the Alabama Invitational, as Shannon Sharp says. So got to let them into their own tournament. And then you got Oregon. Oregon has looked shaky sometimes. Shout out Micah Pittman, by the way. Hope you get your mental health in order and definitely get your life situated, man. But with Oregon, it's interesting. The offense, the defense. Can you get a complete game championship weekend? Because that's what we thought. I can't remember exactly what was. I think it was Utah, and they dropped the game. So there's so much to be played. I mean, Oklahoma State, the physicality of their defense is what intrigues me. But their passing offense, like we saw Saturday night, not too much because Sanders runs before he even throws the ball. So I'm interested to see that. Georgia already in. Alabama, 2-loss. Okay. Oregon, okay. Ohio State, Michigan State. Man, one of these teams are getting 2 losses, and someone is not playing on championship weekend. It's an interesting debate to be had, but we will continue that, of course, as the season progresses. Now, getting into the last thing before we head out of here, guys, getting into coaching updates. Now, we've seen some of the updates. The more real one is Deion Sanders is no longer a part of the consideration. He did impress over a phone interview. He was impressive, but TCU has informed him that they will look at other candidates moving forward. That is professionalism for you're not the guy, basically. So he's out of the picture. He did also come out on cue saying, don't believe rumors. Yes, we're going to believe rumors because you phone interviewed for the job, dude. Chill out. Just admit it. You got rejected. It's okay. At this point, I'm confident in saying this. I think it's going to be Billy Napier and Matt Campbell for me. It's going to be Billy Napier and Matt Campbell. I know Sonny Dykes is still in the lead, but I just think that this is one of those where Jeff Mitchell was mentioning last week on the show, you put your hat in the discussion to get more money where you're currently at. Now, with Sonny, again, my whole thing on him, you're just now getting started at SMU. Why leave now? Why? I mean, I don't envision you moving. You're literally like 10 minutes away from between each university. So you're not moving. You're staying where you're at in Highland Park. I've been to Highland Park, man. That, whoo, man, just walking in that on the street makes me feel poor. So I think Billy Napier, who is primed to get a better job. Matt Campbell, who took a bad loss to Texas Tech. They had expectations going into the year, but has he reached his ceiling at Iowa State? I think that's really what the question is right now with him. Has he reached the ceiling? They reached the Big 12 championship last year, didn't go their way. All that talent came back. They did not go to the NFL draft because they wanted to come back and compete. Hasn't worked out that way. So is he going to go to TCU? Maybe go to Penn State? Maybe go to Virginia Tech? Now, again, Justin Fuente, not in the conversation. I can confidently say he will not be in the conversation now that he is a free man. I am actually allowed to even say that he won't be in the discussion. So that's good news there. But at this point, Billy Napier or Matt Campbell for me. Sonny Dykes is still in it. There's no real true report right now. They're still going through it. These coaches are still focused on their respective programs. But Adriana, at this point where we're at in the coaching search, what do you feel is going to happen at the end of all this?
Yeah, I think Billy Napier seems the most likely choice right now. I think a lot of that too is just I think is more dependent on Matt Campbell. I know sources told Sports Illustrated that Billy Napier's a top target at TCU, and Matt Campbell, I don't know, for some reason, I just have a feeling that he's not quite done at Iowa State. And because of that, something just tells me that TCU's not really it for him right now. So Billy Napier seems like the choice right now for TCU.
Don't get me wrong, okay? I will be the happiest man alive. Like, that'll be my wedding day if Matt Campbell came to TCU. That's how happy I would be. But like you said, we harped on it last week. It's like, I think we harped on it after the show, actually, that I think he still has more work to do. But I think the question is valid. Has he reached that ceiling? Now, maybe give him a couple more years, let him recruit a little bit more, see where they're at. Maybe they're going to get a new quarterback after Brock Purdy goes to the NFL. Maybe he does. If Sam Ehlinger is in the NFL, he could be in the NFL. So that's just my opinion, okay? Don't give me that look, Adrian, okay? I'm there with you. But it's definitely going to be interesting, guys. I wish we had more of a true update, but that's where we stand right now. TCU is still doing their due diligence. There's no real update on Tony Elliott, who did impress, who is also in the conversation. I think like the last 5 TCU is considering is Billy Napier, Matt Campbell, Tony Elliott, Sonny Dykes, and I believe the 5th one is Jamie Chadwell. I want to believe. I'm still working on that confirmation, but I know those 4, Napier, Campbell, Dykes, and Elliott, are definitely in that conversation. So guys, it was a fun episode. I know talking about TCU wasn't the funnest or the most enjoyable part, but hopefully, for God's sakes, hopefully we beat Kansas. Okay. We might have a wide receiver playing quarterback, but don't worry, because the Orojo family is going to be at Amon G. Carter Stadium. They will save us. All right.
No autographs, please. No autographs.
Oh, hey, no paparazzi. Okay. They're going to have their own private security. Everything is going to be off turn for them. All right. So guys, hey man, I won't even be able to get a seat by them. So, hey, don't feel bad, guys. Okay. So guys, she is Adriana Orojo. I am Michael Terrazas. Once again, thank you for listening to the Purple Rain podcast. Next time we speak, hopefully we got some good news, but shout out the basketball team starting out 3-0. Mike Biles, Eddie Lampkin, Micah Peavy out of Duncanville. They're getting on it. Okay, so we will have more coverage for them moving forward as we get out of the football season. Hopefully we pick up a bowl. That's going to ride a lot on the next 2 weeks. But until then, guys, hopefully we got more good news for you next time we speak. Have a good weekend.